The year that wasn't.
This year has taught us a lot, right? We've looked at some of the biggest learnings in a little segment we're doing called The Year That Wasn't. And to help us out with her learnings from the year that's gone by, I have the very sweet, the very lovely Shraddha Sharma, who's the founder and CEO of YourStory with us. Hey, it is so good to see you. How are you?
Thanks so much for having me, Kay. I'm very excited to be talking to you.
I'm thrilled, honestly. And being a person who consumes your story, it's really, really nice to, meet you and speak with you. But I think that for people who are not familiar with your story, I want to give them a little bit of an introduction to it. All right. For everybody who doesn't know, India's largest digital media platform for entrepreneurship. That's what Your Story is all about. And Shraddha founded Your Story as a digital storytelling platform for entrepreneurs entrepreneurs and startups, in fact, back in 2008. She left behind a lucrative job at a national media company, which I think is very bold, solely because she believed in India's new age entrepreneurs. They really deserve to have their stories told. And isn't that true, Shraddha? I mean, something that mainstream media was not ready to do at the time, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. 2008 was very, very early. Digital was also early, and startups word we hadn't heard, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, since then, Shraddha, you've scaled Your Story to become one of India's, in my opinion, leading digital media platforms with a very unique business covering, that you guys have. You cover literally every aspect of India's new economy. All the while, you guys I also like how you ensure positive, inspirational storytelling, and all of that remains the core ethos of the company, which I think is really, really, really nice. So let me start this by asking you, people come to Your Story to see and to hear great stories as well, and to pick up on ideas, and a lot of times to get inspired. So during the times of the pandemic, did you feel did you feel that Your Story had a major responsibility almost to keep, sentiments really positive?
I think so. I always feel that the role of anyone who has the opportunity to reach a large number of people has a responsibility to ensure that one, there is genuineness, and second, that in times of distress, whatever positivity you can spread, right? Because there's nothing much you can do for people when there is a virus and you don't know what to do and how to deal with it. There was no medication, though there was no vaccination. The only thing I think that gets people moving is hope and positivity.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, by default, if you switch on the media, and I don't mean to pinpoint here, don't get me wrong, but you're going to see negative stuff anyways. So why be that addition on that pile of negative things that already happened? I remember there were people who would watch the ticker of how many cases we had in India go up and up, as if you watch it, it'll go slower. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it also talks of a deeper fear, right? And anxiety.
Yeah.
Because somewhere we were all hooked on to what's the number, what's the count,
Yeah.
right? And then it's also very tragic because somewhere at the end of the day, once you see so much of this kind of number, casualty, then it all becomes a number, but it's actually not a number, right?
Yeah, I agree.
We're losing.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to know one incident that changed your life in the last year. Maybe, I don't know, I don't want to start from a Your Story perspective. I want to start from a you perspective. Something that changed your life personally in the last year?
I would say that I slowed down, somewhere. I don't know if you will recognize, because all of us, we're just so running. And I didn't realize that for me also so many years have passed and I've just been running. And somewhere we were forced to slow down. Right? You might have all ambitions, you might have everything, but somewhere just stop, and you were stopped, and then there was lockdown, and then and it's it would seem very easy just to stay with yourself in your own mind, in your own body, figuring out this slowness, this stop that happened. But I think it took a lot, and in some way it brought time for reflection. And I think most people I have also talked to, and myself, I think somewhere it gave pause.
Yeah,
a serious pause.
I read this.
Reflection.
I read this really deep kind of way of looking at 2020 as what if 2020 is the vaccine, that we all needed in our life. And I found that so it's so deep, but it's so, I mean, it's true in a long time. Like what you're saying, you were running and just you didn't stop. And I think we all needed a pause in a large way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Nature needed a pause.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I have never seen, Bangalore is so beautiful and it suddenly became greener, right?
and
Like
you could
there was
hear the
something to
birds. You
that.
know what I mean? You could when you wake up in
Yes,
the morning.
yes.
That's like a '90s thing in Bangalore. Like that's not you don't hear that anymore. But like it's
Yeah,
lovely. Um,
yeah.
something that occurred to you personally. I'm sure you got a lot more time with the family, but those lines of work and home must have been so blurred for you, no? Because let's be honest, news in your line of work never stops, right? Like see right now.
Yeah. It just came. Yeah, yeah, but Kate, to be very honest, and I think you would, and many people would relate maybe to this, is that, in the digital world, that digital citizens,
Mm,
netizens that we are, somewhere that line has already blurred. Yeah.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
for me, like, it doesn't, like, you're constantly, and that's why I said the pause was also important because you're constantly on the go
yeah.
with the mobile phone, with the internet, with the social media. You're constantly being bombarded, and then I don't know when you switch off. And yeah.
Do you set your phone and be honest, okay? Like be honest. Do you like say that, hey, I'm taking this phone and I'm gonna keep it in the side for this time of the day and spend time. Be honest with my family. You can say no. I won't judge. I'm just asking.
So I do night time. I keep my phone for charging, and then I'm like night in between, come what may, I won't. And early morning, when I get up, then my thing is that for at least half an hour, 45 minutes, I will not go near the phone.
Good, good, good. So, what is the first thing that you do in the morning when you wake up? Like, what's your routine? Is it a cup of coffee? Is it I don't know, maybe something else? Newspaper, maybe, or I don't know. What is it?
So
Music.
cup of coffee and yeah, and I meditate. I've
Very nice.
started since last
That's
two,
a
3 years. Yeah.
that's a nice way. So, this meditation thing is start off late for you. Like, it's been something that started in lockdown, or you've been doing it for a while.
For last three years, yeah.
It's good. Have you feel it's changed you as a person?
Yeah, 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 absolutely. I think it's played such a huge role. Otherwise, I think I would have collapsed or I would have gone mad. Anyways, I'm a little mad, but I would have just, like, it somehow just anchors me. And meditation sounds like some very big, fancy word, but
Yeah.
basically, it's just like doing nothing and just breathing, just being conscious of your breathing. It's like so simple. It started with, okay, I'll be aware of my 6 breaths, breathe in, breathe out. And then I don't know, it just heals you. It's just very therapeutic. It's very powerful.
I should ask your colleagues, is she calmer at the office? They'd be like, yeah, she really is.
Oh, you should ask. Actually, you should ask. Yeah, actually.
Okay, so one person whom I feel epitomizes the word calm, be it professionally or personally, and I've had the fortune of meeting him in person, but I saw your interaction with him, and I'm speaking about Mr. Ratan Tata,
Yeah.
who he's such an amazing business leader and a great
Yeah.
individual. You know what I mean? And I know I know you look up to him. And could I say that in that interaction you were a little starstruck?
Oh, I'm always starstruck. Whenever I meet him, also, I go to his house. I'm always starstruck. Like the more I meet him, I get more starstruck. It's the other way, right? When you meet people more often, then you think, wo big deal. What was the big deal, right? Like, okay, okay. And some people, you meet them more, you like them more, you respect them more. And I think he's that person. Yes.
What do you think is the best characteristic about, say, Mr. Ratan Tata?
One of the things that I really liked, many, many things, but one of the things that really stands out for me is that, very genuinely, he genuinely cares about people, and not just like, people in his vicinity or people in Tata Group, but he genuinely, one of the stories that he told me is that, when he sees on the street kids selling flowers or something, right? Like he always buys and he always smiles with them and talks to
So
them
sweet.
whenever and whatever he can do. But he said, but it still hurts that this is what one can do. We should not have kids doing that. And
Yeah.
when he says that, then you don't think that, a politician or someone is saying, it's coming from deep, deep in his heart. And somewhere I just realized that great leaders like him have a lot of very, very genuine compassion, love, which is not कि मैं मेरा family
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
मेरे घर और मेरा company. me. So that
Absolutely.
is him. And extremely humble, extremely genuinely humble. If you go to his house, he's old, but he'll still get up and escort you to the door.
So sweet.
Those things
He's
are
a
like,
he's a real gentleman, isn't he? He's a
oh
real
God,
gentleman.
oh, yes.
You want to know my hilarious encounter with him? It's so funny, and I feel like such an ass telling you the story, but I'm going to tell you anyways because it'll
Tell
make you
me.
laugh. So my cousin worked at a massive auction house, and they had an art fair where they were auctioning art. And at the time, I was in college, so I was in Xavier's Mumbai, and I was studying in Xavier's Mumbai. And she said I had never seen anything like that, and I always kept asking her, I wonder how it is in those auctions. Do they really say bidding 1 crore, bidding begins at 1 crore, and does it really happen like that? And she's like, you should come and see. So she invited me for the little thing, and I still remember it was at the Taj Mahal, which is at the gateway. The gateway was there. So imagine, okay, I'm a college student amidst a lot of people who are like extremely high-fi people, and I've worn my best jacket, and I've gone there all nicely spruced up, and I'm just sitting in the auditorium, in the hall, and I'm just watching. I'm in awe because that guy who's holding the gavel and he's like banging down the bids, he's doing a great job, and I was just like, this is beautiful, this is so great, and I'm just enjoying the ambience, right?
Yeah.
And so there was a chair empty next to me, and it got filled after a little while. I didn't really wasn't paying attention to who was sitting there because I was so keen on the what was happening, and it was so electric. The atmosphere was amazing. So when that happened, after a little while there was a small pause. So I turned and looked, and I swear to you, Mr. Ratan Tata is sitting right next to me. Okay, he's sitting right there, and I'm like, I'm flipping. Okay, I'm flipping, and I don't know what to say. And I kid you not, at the time, I had a car in Bangalore which was a Tata Nano, and I was like, what do I say to him? What I said? I said, Mr. Tata, I have your car. I swear, I said that. And he looks at me and he's like, huh, thank you, beta. I hope you're good and I hope you're enjoying it. And that's it. He was there for like, a little while, and then he got up and went, and I was like, I have made such a fool of myself.
No.
He probably won't even remember this, but I will remember it for the rest of my life because he was so sweet about it, because, in spite of me being so awestruck. But yeah, that was my little instance with, say, for example, the time that you got starstruck. Is there anyone else that you feel that you'd be starstruck by if you met? Yeah, if you met someone?
I have been very inspired. So I met the German Chancellor, Angela Merkel. I spent time with her. I was very inspired. Then French President Macron, I met him. So I was very, very, he's very charming.
Right.
And of course I was inspired. But, okay, sometimes of course, these are big names. But don't you think that we meet people when we least expect, and there's someone without those kind of very big tags or this, and they inspire and they completely bowl you.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I think what the problem is that when we meet people, we start looking at them as this higher being of intelligence or, success and stuff like that. Whereas, truth be told, people who have reached that level in whatever capacity just want to be spoken to as regular humans. Like,
Yeah.
I think they also like coffee. They also like chai. Maybe,
Yeah.
it's like regular stuff. And
I feel that one of the things I really, really believe is that we all, and this pandemic, to answer, it ties back to this pandemic question. One of the biggest truths that we all have while we are all breathing is that we're going to die, right? And we're all going to die the same way, in the sense we'll be dying alone.
Yeah.
And when you strip us all, right? Strip us all, we are all, looking for that very, very genuine, authentic connection.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What else is to life?
There is nothing
And
else.
be it Mr. Tata or me or someone else on the road, anyone, like you could be anyone. We are all looking for very genuine connection, because life is passing.
The nice part is it comes also, I think we've been so many times put through so many filters that we forget that that's just the basic thing. Connection is the basic thing. Communication is the basic thing. I want to tie that back to you guys, and let's talk about your story, because you guys have been communicating to the world for years now. How was it that you came to be in this space? Because what has made you start this mammoth journey, as it may seem to a lot of people? Because 2008 is a long time back. And I think times have changed tremendously, but
Oh my God, I'm ancient now. I'm ancient.
don't say
Yeah.
that.
No, of course, right? I've like just been doing this forever. Now I just think I've given like my life to this. Yeah.
Yeah, but what started it off? I mean, was there some aha moment that happened for you that made you say that, I think this is what I want to do, or how did it kind of pan out?
So three very quick things. One is that, anything that you start or you do or you jump into, because we are mostly middle class people, is not easy. So the decision doesn't happen instantly. You keep on, it just eats you. You eat, sleep, breathe something, and then suddenly you jump. But any jump that happens, there's a lot that goes before the jumping.
Of
And for
course.
me, it was, I was in media, I was in Mumbai. And somewhere I didn't relate to media, right? Like the way media, glamorizes extremely successful people. And I come from a small town myself, and there were so many people like me, right? Like who come from small town. We got good education. That's why we are where we are. And somewhere, when you can't communicate well, when you can't tell your stories well, when you can't be like the storyteller in the whatever way, then your voice gets lost, yeah. And you don't get picked up. And especially if you're young, you're building something, doing something. And I realized that in my role in the media companies that I was working in, that I was meeting all these guys, and their stories was so personal to them. They
Yeah.
loved it. Like, this is what I'm doing. See your story, like the time you met Mr. Tata, right? It's a very small anecdote thing that you met, but it will stay with you. It's personal to you. It's not that you had dinner with him, but you had that moment with him, right?
Yeah.
Which will stay. It's personal. It's your story. How do you give voice to that? And whenever I was talking that time, they said, "Oh, but these stories will not make money. This is like a social project to
Sure.
listen to
Yeah.
young people." And I said that, okay, I didn't think about business or anything, honestly. At that time, I just said that I have to tell these stories, because I don't think so I'll be doing justice if I don't give voices to this story. And the second thing is, I don't like structure.
Yeah.
I don't like the that.
Same as you, huh?
And I was thinking, why is it that to succeed in life, it's a personal quest also, you have to have a structured job, you have to have a structured salary, you get dependent on that salary that comes. Why can't you do something that you love and succeed and make money, do well? Yeah, it's one life. And so all these
So you
things
just
got
you
me
just jumped
surprised.
in, and then there's no looking back. There was no backup. It was just
There
the
was no backup, yeah. There was no backup, so I couldn't look back. If there was, then I might have looked back. And also the second thing is ego, right? Like you can't fail, can't fail, can't fail. And the third thing is that, and the most important thing was that, the stories that I was telling, like today we are connecting so nicely, right? If you're listening to me, I'm listening to you. There's such a bond that one establishes. It's a
I
very
agree.
pure energy. And I was just talking to so many young entrepreneurs across the country. And they were like, oh my God, first time you're listening. First time someone is giving us this platform. And that kept me going. And it's 13 years now.
Lovely. And I when you said that thing, a little thing about salary, I was reading this book recently. I forget the name, but there's a beautiful line. It's by Kevin O'Leary, who's the guy on Shark Tank, and he says that a salary is what they give you to postpone your dreams. And I think that's such a beautiful line. Like, it's so true, because you're making someone else's dream come true. And but to be fair, the team you have at Your Story, I think you'd give them all the credit, and I know you will. You've had a phenomenal team over the years. Mind you, it has changed. Of course, people have come, people have gone, but you've had a couple of people who have just like stood you through this. So, specifically in the pandemic, what was that experience like? Moving from a very different style of working to now. What has that been like with your team?
okay, first I'll tell you that yes, my team, I owe everything to the team, right? Like they are crazy, phenomenal, and very entrepreneurial. So you should come to my office. It's very wild, wild west because everyone is like inside. When I come, then I don't know who's the entrepreneur because I really want to say, hey, dude, I'm the boss, right? Like, but it's not like any intern can come and show you your place. That okay, you don't know this, then this. So I love that the energy because somewhere we're spending so much of our time, like talking to each other. We might as well enjoy, otherwise we'll suck brain dead each other.
I agree.
So anyways, but in pandemic it was fun because it was tough first because we didn't know suddenly we are under lockdown, and then now also we've not opened the office. Few of us come to the office, but it's not like opened. Anyone can, people are working from wherever and all that.
Sure.
But there were 3-4 people who came every day, and there was such a energy, and there was such a I don't think of it as a team, honestly.
Yeah, they're family for you, I'm sure.
Yeah. And then like family, they're also sometimes very, very irritating and too much blah blah. But I don't think so we can do without each other.
I 100% I'm with you. And these same people, will know, especially during the pandemic, they'll know all your deepest, darkest secrets, because what's happened through the pandemic, like since you're interacting with a few people on a daily basis, you're like, they are everything. I talk to them about everything and anything. Not only that, they'll see you doing a call, top formals, bottom pajamas, and a lot of people have seen that. So like I said, they become more like family than anything else for you. I want to move to an experience that you had, okay? And you have interacted with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And is there anybody else, you kind of wish to interview and have their stories told, that's on top of your list that you really want to make happen?
I would say people who are gone, and some of the people I would have loved to interact with because they had such eclectic stories, right? Like they had some of the people who, like I would have loved to talk to Mahatma Gandhi, right? Like because there are so many stories around him, and every era has different story around him. But what was it like to be him? Like what does it mean to live your life with that kind of conviction, walking the talk and living and dying? I would have loved to talk so many people. I would have loved to talk to William Shakespeare. How did he come up with those kind of crazy stories, right? I can go on. Charlie Chaplin. I would love to interview. How do you come up with that kind of
humor and
without even speaking?
And imagine it's a universal language you're speaking. Emotion is a universal language. You're not curtailed to one, which is why he connected with so many people across the globe. In fact, right?
Yeah.
So,
Michael Jackson.
Oh yeah.
I can go on because everyone, and I also think that there's so many layers to a person, right? And we get one layer. How can you deconstruct everything?
Yeah. It's tough because even as much as you let's say hypothetically, I said, Shraddha, you have 5 hours with Michael Jackson. I don't think you'd still be able to uncover everything. A person is like it's like an onion with layers and layers. You got to kind of keep peeling. But I think that's a nice thing. I think you picked some of my most favorite personalities for sure. I also, it's a year that the year that wasn't is a year that's been hard for businesses. Some have thrived, some have shut down. Some are barely getting by even today. So what has 2020 taught you as an entrepreneur?
Resilience. Kay, I only have one theory in life, that when you are in the playground, and I always say this, that when you've given an access to the playground, you are inside the playground. Now you have to give water to the other player, go and give water to the other player. You have to do fielding, go fielding karo. You have to do batting, wicket keeping, or just keep on running, right? Or just stand with umbrella for someone. Just do that as long as you are inside the field. Don't give up. Don't go out of the field. And it's easier said than done. But when it's it's grilling, it's 42, 43 degree, and you have to stand day after day after
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
It builds a different kind of muscle and rigor, and to me it's a practice. It takes a lot of, we use the word resilience, because resilience is like brushing teeth every day. You have to get up and do that, and take that same shit and still get up and do that every day. And that's what I learned in the pandemic, and it has built a muscle. I hope and it's not just me. Everyone would have built a new muscle
Yeah.
during this time,
Yeah.
because we
Yeah.
had no option. We had
Yeah.
to survive.
Yeah, I like you said, it's there was no option, in fact. But what big opportunities kind of exist for you that have been born out of this situation of COVID-19? Like, are there some opportunities that came your way that you were like, oh geez, this would have never happened otherwise, if not for the year that happened?
Yeah, so many things. One is that we were not into videos as much,
Huh.
and suddenly you won't believe that the whole money last year, like this year, we've made is on videos. Right?
Okay,
And
wow.
we became video first, and suddenly the viewership, like the live that we did with Mr. Tata, it had millions of views, right? And people watching live, millions. First, I didn't ever think that I could get Mr. Tata to do a live with me. Second
Yeah.
thing is that getting millions of people, and also because I think a lot of traditional businesses and traditional corporates, they realize the value, I think, first time of digital, because, we are still very spending much on TV and print. So a lot of those, to our business, at least a lot of good tailwinds happened, because digital came to the forefront. And education, we launched education, a lot of learnings, because we saw that people are now invested in improving themselves,
Yeah.
and learning new skills, learning new courses.
Yeah.
So we started that, and that is doing well. Yeah.
So all this would have,
go
you
on.
think, if the year that, the year that didn't happen, would you guys have not gone into that space, or it would have been delayed? It would have happened at some other point in time, but not so soon.
And not with so much of
Urgency.
Hindi में कहते हैं ना, आग लगी हुई है. Not with, yes, that fire. Like, because we had to. I remember Prime Minister Modi announcing, "Oh, there's lockdown from tonight," and you won't believe, that night I was like thinking, "Ab kya hoga?
Yeah.
Like, what will happen to my business? How I'm going to pay salary?" Because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
really didn't want to lay off anyone,
Yeah.
and do any of those things. What will happen? Suddenly, then we said, "Okay, let's do." Then we realized Zoom, and then we started doing every day 6, 7, 8, 9 conversations every
Wow.
day.
Wow.
Yeah, so.
Wow, that's like a constant churn of content. That's fantastic. Considering everything that 2020 has kind of taught you, future plans and endeavors that you might have. I don't want to talk about your story first. I want to talk about you first. What are your future plans? Like tell me that.
I have seen life disappear in moments. I've lost people, and to me, I don't make any future plans. The biggest plan I have for myself is that, the question I ask myself is that, am I able to live in that moment? If I'm talking to you right now,
Yeah.
then am I with you right now? Because I can be so easily distracted, and I can actually keep looking at my phone or do 100 things.
Yeah.
But am I enjoying this moment? If I've decided to spend this time with you, am I going to be with you completely, totally, when I'm with you? So can I live in moments? Can I live present? Be aware and be present.
I'm so happy you're saying this, because this is actually a philosophy that I've started living by. So I do improv comedy as well. And that's
Wow.
actually one of the core principles of improv comedy. It's living in the moment. So it's so nice that you've said that, because I mean, it's
I have to tell you, you're very good to talk to.
oh, how sweet. Thank you so much. That's so kind of you to say. I appreciate it.
So I'm sure people would know this. Yeah.
No, I think after a point, after doing this for like 6-7 years, this conversation becomes, like you said, it becomes muscle memory. You know what I mean? Having good conversation, I think, is highly underrated. You know what I mean? It's highly underrated. Nothing replaces the same. And let's talk about your story. Let me ask you about that. What are your future plans for your story? Or, I can't even say your future plans anymore, because like you said, an intern can come in and tell you and put you in your place, like you just said.
Yeah.
So what are plans for your story? Let me ask you that.
So we just launched a subscription product called the Cap Table. It just went live yesterday, and this is for a certain set of audience around the world, the
Cool.
CXOs, the VCs, the investor community, and all that. So that goes live. Education, we'll go much deeper into. We're launching a club for the larger community of entrepreneurs and people. And then we've gone into local languages where we'll again go deeper this year.
Yeah.
And the plan is to launch in US.
Oh, wow. Congratulations. I hope that all works out phenomenally well. For people, for this entire community you just referred to, I'm sure they've had a lot of rough patches along the way. And, would you have any, I don't know, any Shraddha tips for them? Not your story tips, Shraddha tips for them of how to succeed? Or does the resilience come back into play somewhere here? Would you say that again?
Yeah, I would say that. And I would say, I have followed a lot closely. I think, I used to think of it, but I follow that Buddhism a thing that life is a suffering, right? And it's not like, oh, you get depressed about it. When you accept that, oh, there is going to be pain, there is going to be trouble, there is going to be something so uncertain that we don't know, then you are able to deal with it much better.
Yeah.
And somewhere, and I think that acceptance is something that we all have to strive for. That कुछ भी हो सकता है. अगर कुछ भी हो सकता है तो डर फिर उतना नहीं लगता है. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
not that leader hai, but then you're not so fearful of everything. And I would say everything passes. Yeah. Impermanence. Everything passes. Good, bad, ugly. Everything passes. So my threat.
I think I should humanize you a little bit. Let's for a lot of people who don't feel like Shraddha is human in some ways, let's tell them one of the most difficult and challenging situations that you've had in your tenure as an entrepreneur. One that, has taught you everything you are at the moment.
I think relationships have taught me everything. Some of the relationships you place, you grow, right? Like some of the relationship, you place all your trust, you place everything professionally, personally, it gets combined, and then you realize that, we were not seeing eye to eye, right? And somewhere, and I think those things makes you fun. It makes you learn so much, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not that it's not situations, circumstances that teach you a lot. It's people. Our interaction with each other, or jiske saath with you have very deep personal interaction, sometimes professionally, and then you realize that, even living the same thing, we could be living something very different.
Correct.
And that makes you realize that, okay, you have to, that also teaches you that we think that we are accepting everyone's point of view, but we don't.
We're not.
And there's so many things we learn about our own selves.
Yeah. Because when you're in a certain situation like the one you just referred to, you're like, wow, this, I think more than teaching me something about this person, it has taught me more about myself.
Myself. Yes, absolutely.
I want to ask you, and I want to kind of conclude with this. And the ecosystem, I feel, of digital news and media is one that's constantly evolving. So, do you have any top predictions for the near and distant future of this industry?
I would say that media will be completely disintermediated. The power of the large media companies, I think, will not stay for long unless they are disrupting. Because today the power of media is that anyone on the street also has, audience, and they can get the audience on the social platform and different platforms that are creating. Anyone can be an influencer. And I think that's a huge opportunity, because then it's not one person or three people who are defining what we should consume and what is the, what's the narrative going to be.
Yeah.
And to me, anyone, you can be anywhere in this country, world, and if you have something right to say, interesting to say, you can be very powerful, you can be very, very influential, and that trend is going to continue. It's not going to be the world of only 4, 5, 6, 7 media companies. It's going to be a world where everyone who has, can become a very powerful media, solo media house you could become, right?
Yeah.
Like if I say, and to me, that trend cannot be reversed. It's
Yeah.
going to be like that. And moreover, these large social platforms, Twitter, Facebook, or whatever, right? Like, I think they will become more of a amplifying voice for people, and we will see a lot more government interventions across the world
Yeah.
coming in the for these large techs. I think that is going to be defined. The data.
Right.
I think we have next 1 or 2 years, we'll see a lot of new things because it's a new world for everyone, right?
Absolutely.
Like, yeah, so I think we'll see a lot more government be across the world being involved in how our data is used and all
Right.
that. And
Right.
the third, I would say, is that there'll be no boundaries,
Hmm.
because digital is such an empowering thing that tomorrow the boundaries, it has, anyways, pandemic has taught us that there's no boundary now.
Sure.
You can get a job anywhere because you're working remotely. But in terms of media entertainment, I don't think so there'll be boundaries,
Hmm.
because you can, if you are here, you can get an audience in New York. And at the same time, there'll be a micro trend that if you are in Bengaluru, then, in Indranagar, you can build a community
Yeah.
of Indranagar and build a business around it. So it's very, very interesting time. And but the best thing is, which I feel very excited about, is that the power is shifting. The way media traditionally has been, few people, few names running the country as a narrative, to everyone having an access to playing a role.
Yeah.
And I think it's very, very exciting.
I think
Very
it's. I
exciting.
think that's super exciting because that just means that you have different stories told from different perspectives, and I'm
Absolutely.
sure you've had people interview you in the past, but I don't know if people have heard this side of you. I don't know, and I'm hoping that people who have listened to this have gotten a slightly different side of you. But I want to close this with a little rapid fire. So what we'll do is, like, I want you to tell me the first thing that comes to your mind as we go through this. Are you ready? We'll have a little bit of
Yes,
fun.
tell me.
Okay, here we go. And in three, two, one, something that you do to unwind.
Drink red wine.
Oh, okay. Okay. I did not expect that. Okay. The last movie you watched.
Last movie. Oh, last movie. Okay, fast. I don't remember which movie I
Okay.
watched.
TV show.
I
TV show. TV show.
TV show. I keep watching YouTube. Yeah, I
Ah,
keep
okay.
watching
Chal. Okay.
YouTube.
You something on YouTube. Fantastic. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I watch every day. In fact, Mingyo Rinpoche's videos I watch every day, night and morning.
Wow. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Are you ever going to go back to a movie hall / multiplex in your life?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
And eat the popcorn also.
Okay,
With
fantastic.
Coke also.
Great. A word of advice you would give to founders.
Uh, it's a long race. Stay put.
Super.
Long race.
Pick between these three: chaat, biryani, or pizza.
None of them.
Are you serious? What would you pick then?
Chaat biryani or pizza? No.
No, okay. I'm
Health
saying
conscious.
leave chaat, biryani, or pizza. What would you pick then? Otherwise,
Any new restaurant to explore, go and have food and see something new.
so you're
Like,
extremely
yeah.
health conscious, or what?
No, yeah. Like, I'm trying now. I want to. All of us today want to be health conscious.
Of course,
No,
of
I'm
course.
not. No.
It's a new trend. It's more ratchet. Okay, let's get to the next
Yes.
one. An advice you would give to your younger self.
Chill. Learn
Okay.
to chill.
Okay.
Chill,
Okay.
chill.
Nice. Top travel destinations you have visited.
Berlin.
Berlin, really?
Yeah, Berlin. Why? Why are you saying Berlin?
No,
really?
I don't know. I thought that of all the places, people usually say some beach place or something. I usually get that, but you said Berlin. That's why I'm a little surprised. That's why.
Oh, it is like it's an experience.
Yeah?
And for so many reasons. So many. You should go there if you haven't been there.
I have not.
Because there's so much.
Yeah, it will
It's
be
like
on my
the
list.
onion. You said no? Peel. Berlin is like that. New York.
Okay, so Berlin, New York, right? Yeah, New York is one that I want to visit just because I want to go and sit in these jazz bars and listen to live jazz. That's
Oh.
always been a
Yeah.
hardcore dream of mine. An Instagram trend that you just don't get.
Instagram only I don't get.
I love the honesty here. What should the youngsters be looking out for? Fill in that blank.
Being a lifelong student.
Lovely. That's so nice. And last but definitely not the least, if I gave you a couple of choices between education, finance, farming, and tech, which is a field to watch out for that has the next big thing?
Farming.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And on that
In
note,
fact, this year we'll see for the first time agri-tech in the country. Agri-tech
actually,
unicorn
we are
this
already
year.
seeing so much agri-tech and especially come out of Bangalore as well, which is so nice
Yeah.
to see. And on that note, I have to tell you, Shraddha, this has been so fun. This has been so cool chatting with you. Thank you for being part of the year that wasn't. And I think you've given everybody a lot of stuff to think about. I hope you've had fun because I've definitely had fun getting to know you a little
You know,
bit.
you are brilliant. I have to tell you this, and I'm just not saying this. I don't know when if we are going to be interacting again. But I just thought that you are so, you're fun, layered, and you get people to open up. And because we are people like me are quite seasoned, we won't speak or we'll speak or we'll, we can see so many people asking questions. But you're so amazing. You're very good, very very
Thank
good.
you so much. That's so kind of you. I really appreciate it. That's so sweet of you. For everybody watching this, please go subscribe to Your Story if you haven't already. And I will end this on that note.
This was brought to you by HT Smartcast.
HT Smartcast.